Among the people who came by this neighborhood, Rosie, earlier today, the Premier Kathleen Wynne.
That's right, Ian. As we showed you earlier, she was there with Mayor John Tory, and they both wrote messages of condolence to the victims' families. They lay bouquets of flowers, and then they read some of the words left by others on cardboard and Post-its taped to Olive Square. And Premier Kathleen Wynne joins us tonight from Toronto. Premier, you were at the memorial today. You were talking to lots of people down there. What has struck you about the reaction, not only from the people in that neighborhood, but from the city at large?
Well, it was a very somber place, Rosemary, as you can imagine. There were people from the community who had written messages in a whole range of languages that reflect the community in that area, but also that reflect the city. And there was a theme of love that went through all of the messages. And it was one that particularly stood out, and it said, "I don't know you, but I love you." And so I think that people are looking for a way in this city to express their love, express their concern and their sympathy for everyone who has been a victim or a family or friend of this horrific tragedy.
When you first got that call yesterday, and I imagine it's the call you least want to get as Premier, what did you immediately think was happening? Were you concerned that it was an act of terrorism?
I think that crosses your mind. You know, it's one of the questions that comes up. I wanted to know that our first responders had all the support that they needed. I wanted to make sure that the provincial first responders were working closely with the federal and the municipal police services. The Toronto Police Service has done a wonderful job. They have led the way on this, but we've been working very closely with them, and I wanted to make sure that they had everything that they needed, and that you know, we were sure that if there was going to be a second event, that we were prepared for that. That's what was going through my mind immediately.
There are now suggestions between what we know about the suspect and his attachment to a Facebook group where he seemed to express some feelings, some hateful feelings towards women and some men. And we also know that some of the victims now there are more women than men. Do you read anything into that? Are police telling you anything about that and whether that speaks to motive?
I think it's too early, Rosemary, to speculate on any of that. The investigation is ongoing. I think that we have to let the experts do their work.
What you can do, though, as the Premier, is start to think about preventative measures that can be put in place for things like this to not happen again. Of course, this is one of these attacks on soft targets with a van that no one suspects will be a weapon. What are you thinking about already in terms of trying to prevent things like this from happening again?
Yes, you're absolutely right. And in fact, our Cabinet Committee on Emergency Management met this afternoon, and this was one of the topics. You know, are we now looking at what measures could be put in place? And again, it's early days, but we are absolutely looking at what can we do. And I think, Rosemary, this is a question that is being asked in many jurisdictions. When you're dealing with a random act of this kind, you know, to what degree is it random? To what degree is the place random? And how, you know, what are the predictive factors that can be put in place? And then what do we do about that? What we do know is we don't want to change our cities in this province to be places where people don't feel safe to walk. You know, we want to make it clear to each other that we live in a safe place, that we are resilient communities, and that we will get through this. But we are looking at what more could we do to prevent and to keep people safe.
Okay, Premier, thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.